You alright boys, welcome to a new video. Now today we're going to be doing a few bits with a rear diffuser and my rear honeycomb. I don't know if you know, but I mentioned it in my last video, my tracks video. Someone stole my rear honeycomb, this bit, which I'd literally just painted like a week before, so that pissed me off. So I was looking for a new one of these before tracks, and what actually happened was I found one on eBay, rear honeycomb, and it actually came with this rear diffuser as well. This is the standard rear diffuser. This had all like lines in it and stuff. I've already given it a sand down already. I don't know if you can still see there's lines in it and stuff. This is where the black paint has kind of filled in all of them lines, and all the grey bit, like the majority of it, is where it's sanded down. It is now smooth-ish. Yeah, them two came together and I got it for a good price really. I have been looking to get a standard rear diffuser because I'm not a fan of the TRC one that I've currently got fitted. That's just because I can fit diffuser fins which look a bit better than the fins on the TRC diffuser. And they actually came with these diffuser fins as well. That sun is bright. So with this rear honeycomb and this rear diffuser, it came with these diffuser fins as well. I've got this kind of purple pinstripe kind of tape. I don't know how well you can see, but I've just put the tape on the edge of it. I've got 4 of these. I've got the other 3 upstairs, but these literally just fit on here just like that. 1, 2, 3. You might be wondering why there's the holes in it. That's for these. But yeah, I've got 4 of these, and they do look pretty good. Obviously this needs painting. I've also got to paint my rear honeycomb. What I'm going to actually attempt to do with all the crisscrosses, I'm going to attempt to do them purple, and the kind of the squarish bits in the middle all black, like gloss black. I'll explain how I'm going to attempt to do that in a little while, but first of all I'm going to give this whole rear diffuser another good sanding down with some 400 wet and dry sandpaper, so it's nice and smooth. And then we're going to prime it, see what it's like then, see if we can still feel any like sort of divots or whatever, and go from there. So let's get cracking boys. So I have already sanded this down once already with 400 grit sandpaper. I'm just going to go over it quickly again just to try and make it super smooth. Then I think they're just going to go in with a coat of primer and see how it turns out. When I did actually buy this, the seller did put on the listing on eBay that it needed a respray, but what it looked like, he'd literally gone over it with like some 80 grit sandpaper or something and literally just sprayed straight over the top of it. It looked pretty horrendous. You could see so many like scratches and lines in it, but it just looked like he'd gone over it with like 80 grit sandpaper, like really rough sandpaper, and it's just gouged loads of lines in it. But now I'm sanding it down, the black paint that he originally done is kind of filling all of the gouges, and then obviously I've taken the top layer of paint off. It's now kind of smooth, so just going to finish sanding this little area here, dry it, clean it, and then we'll put a couple of coats of primer on, see how it comes out. Right then boys, so here is my spray booth. I've just got a big cardboard box cut open, which I'm laying the diffuser on. Them pillows are there for a reason. They're hiding something which is very sick. It's going to upgrade my car like amazing, like it's going to look sick. There's a lot of work that needs doing to it. That'll probably be my next video. You can probably just see a tiny bit down the side there what it is. That's all you're getting for now boys, but yeah. That is being hidden so you boys can't see it, because that's a surprise for next video. But as I said, it does need a lot of work, and it is similar work to this really, but all will be explained in the next video, so you're not getting any more clues until the next video. But for now we're going to be painting this. Going to go in with a first coat of primer. I'm hoping that it comes out smoothly and you can't feel anything. At the moment it is pretty much smooth anyway, but I'm sure the primer will just make it so much more smoother. And then I'll give the primer a little sand down with maybe 800 or 1000 grit sandpaper, and then we'll start with the gloss black. So I've got my primer here, just going to give it a first coat. I've actually got this little attachment thing. If anyone's doing any painting, I suggest you get this, because this is really, really good. Literally it just slides onto the top of the can. I don't know how well you can see, but it's got like a little red kind of bit of plastic in there. When you press this lever here, it just pushes it down. Like, it's so good, this thing. In my mind, I don't know if it's just in my mind or what, but when I was last doing my painting, I thought you got a much smoother, more even finish. I don't know that if that's just because of, like, it's just a lot easier with this, to be fair. But if anyone's doing any painting, I'd definitely suggest getting one of these. I think it was about £5 from Halfords, but it's so good. You can literally just aim where you're painting, and it's just so much easier. You don't get like a numb thumb from pressing the nozzle every 2 seconds. It's just so good. So we're just going to go in, do a first coat of primer on here. It's just going to be a thin coat first of all, which is what you're meant to do, and I'll just show you what it's all about. I think that'll do for the first coat, so we'll give that a couple of minutes to dry. That should dry pretty quickly, and then we'll do another coat a little bit thicker, maybe another coat after that, see how it comes out, and then give it a little sand down. So given that about 5 minutes to dry, we're going to go in with a second coat now, and this one's going to be a little bit thicker as well. Alright, that was a much thicker coat. I went over the scratches which are still slightly visible. I went over them with a slightly thicker coat as well, and a couple more sprays. We'll come back in 5-10 minutes as that was a bit of a thicker coat, so we'll let that dry for a little bit longer. We'll give it another coat like that, and then we'll come back and see if we can still see the scratches, maybe give it a sand down or whatever. Right then boys, so it's had a couple of thick coats of primer now. I'm just going to give it a light sand of 1500 grit sandpaper, see how smooth it comes out. It should be alright, but we'll just see how it comes out. It's also started to rain and we're starting to lose the light now, so I think after this I'll leave it for tonight. Now that feels really good and smooth. I'm just going to dry it, I'll leave it overnight, and then we'll pick it back up again in the morning. Alright boys, it's the next morning. It's about 12 o'clock, half 12 I think. We're going to crack on with the rear diffuser and the rear honeycomb. I think last night I sanded it down after the primer, so it should be nice and smooth. Just going to give it a good clean, assess it, and then we might be going in with the first coat of paint, or we might need a little sand down again or whatever. But we'll just have a look now, see what it's like. Right, so here's the rear diffuser. Sanded it down last night and it is now proper smooth. You can still see slight kind of lines in it here. It's smooth, so you can see it but you can't really feel them. I'm sure the paint will just cover that up anyway. I don't want to be taking loads and loads of time on this. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine, but I reckon now it is ready for its first coat of paint. So we'll go and set up the black paint now. Right then boys, we've got our gloss black paint. It's all now ready for our first coat. So this one's just going to be a nice thin coat. There you are, boys. First coat complete. So as I said, it was just a very thin coat, and as you can see it is a little patchy, but that really doesn't matter. You're just trying to cover the surface just for a nice sticky surface for the second coat. Right, so I've given this an extra couple of coats now. It's looking proper nice and glossy. It is smooth all over. It does look really, really nice. I thought you didn't really need to see me painting it, as you've seen me paint so many times. But while this is drying, I'm going to make a start on the honeycomb. Right, so this is the rear honeycomb, which fits just above the rear diffuser. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to primer it how you normally would. I'm then going to spray the whole thing purple. Then I'm going to put clear lacquer over the whole top of it, and then after I put the clear lacquer over the top, I'm then going to paint it black. Then I've got some paint thinners, and what I'm going to do is very carefully use like a cotton bud or something like that, and just go over these lines, all the crisscrosses, with the paint thinner on like this cotton pad. Now I'm hoping that it's going to work. My theory is that the clear lacquer will protect the purple paint underneath. So where I've gone over all these lines, the paint thinner isn't going to eat through the clear lacquer, so it'll be purple underneath, and then all the black that's left, after I've done that, I'll give it a good I'll give it a good clean, and then I'll go over the whole thing with another couple of coats of clear lacquer. So I'm hoping that all of this line around the outside and all of the crisscrosses are going to be purple, and the insides are going to be black. Right, so we've done 2 coats of the primer now. That's looking nice and thick and all good. We got this purple paint. Oh, this purple paint here. Focus. There we go. This purple paint is from Halfords, like all the bloody paint I get. We're just going to go in with a thin coat for the first one, see how it comes out. It's not as dark as I'd like it to be. Hope it does go a little bit darker like that. Maybe a couple of coats will do it some good. Alright, we'll let that dry, 5-10 minutes whatever, and then we'll go in with another coat. So that'll do for that one, boys. Right then, boys, so I've given this quite a few coats of this purple. It's not getting any darker. It's kind of a lilac-y colour, which isn't really what I'm after, but I think it's just okay. Like, the colour is just okay. It's not too light. I would prefer it to be darker, but it's just not really. But I'm gonna fuck it for now. But I'm just gonna go over it with some clear lacquer, Body Shop lacquer from Halfords. Apparently, hopefully it's alright. But I'm gonna give this a few coats of clear lacquer because I want to be protecting the paint on all of these like crisscrosses, and then after we've done a few coats of this, we'll go in with a gloss black. Right, so I've just put 1 coat of the gloss black over the top. I'm going to now go in with another coat and see how that turns out, and that might be enough for the black paint, I'm not sure. Right, so that does actually look really good. That was quite a thick coat. It does look really, really glossy and wet at the moment, so I'm going to leave that to dry fully. I'm then just going to paint around the outsides, like the sides. You're not really going to see them, but I want to paint them anyway, just to get rid of like the purple. And then what I'll do, I'll get the paint thinners and we'll see how well my theory actually works. Right then, boys, so I'm letting this gloss black paint dry thoroughly before I go in with the paint thinners. And while that's drying, I'm going to let that sit for maybe an hour or whatever. I'll come back to that in a minute, but we're going to give the rear diffuser a couple more coats of gloss black, see how it comes out, and then we'll put a clear lacquer over the top of that. By the time we've done that, should be alright to come back to this. Alright boys, so I've just given the rear diffuser a couple of coats of clear lacquer. I think the rear honeycomb is still slightly wet as well, so I'm going to just leave them both overnight. I'll pick the video back up again tomorrow. Hopefully the rear diffuser will be complete, then hopefully the rear honeycomb will be ready to start with the like paint thinners and see if my theory actually works. Hopefully it all goes well, and then I'll just pick it up tomorrow after work. Right then boys, it's been a little while since you last saw me. I've been driving around with no rear diffuser and no rear honeycomb for probably about 2 weeks, and I've hated the way it looks, and I just haven't got around to putting my diffuser on. But I finally got some new screws to screw in my diffuser fins. They're all screwed in nicely. There is the finished product. I've got the black diffuser fins, and I've used a bit of the purple pinstripe tape on the edges of the fins. I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. But now it's time to get this back on. So that's all we're doing today. We're getting this back on, and then, I don't know, maybe tomorrow we'll get on with the honeycomb as well. Right, that's all bolted in. All clipped in properly. And I like that. That looks a lot more aggressive than the TRC one. Because on the TRC one, the fins just weren't big at all. But these fins here are slightly bigger, and obviously I've got the purple pinstripe tape on it as well, so I think that looks a lot better, to be honest with you. I've just got a bolt here which I'm just going to hold it in place with. There's a little hole down here. Right then boys, that's all bolted in. So doing that just gives me peace of mind that no one's just going to come along and just rip it off. So, because this is actually the standard diffuser, but I prefer this to the TRC one, just because the TRC fins just weren't big and they didn't look aggressive at all. Like, it was difficult to notice them. I did have the idea to put this pinstripe tape on the TRC one, but where the fins were kind of rounded off at the edges, it just wasn't going to work. Like, the tape wouldn't sit on there properly, it wouldn't look great, it wouldn't look clean and neat, it would just look a bit stupid. So I bought this diffuser here off eBay. It needed a respray, which obviously you've seen, because it had all scratches on it. It literally looked like it had been sanded down with like 180 grit sandpaper, which is ridiculous. It also came with these diffuser fins and the honeycomb, which obviously got stolen probably about a month ago now. So all I've got to do now is finish off the honeycomb and try and do the purple crisscrosses by taking off a bit of the black paint on the top layer, give it a clear coat, and then whack that back on there. And I will probably be using like a bit of Tiger Seal or something, just so I know it's not going to come off and no one can take it. But that looks 100 times better already. Rather than driving around with a massive hole in the rear bumper, it looked stupid. But I'm happy now I've finally got round to fitting that, and hopefully I'll be able to get the rear honeycomb all sorted soon. Alright boys, welcome back. I just want to quickly say I apologise for not uploading a video in quite a while. I think it's been about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks now, maybe even pushing 3 weeks by the time I've actually edited this video as well. But I've been super busy at work. I've had like a flu. I've still kind of got it now. I'm all like bunged up and feel a bit crap. But we've now got a week booked off work, which I've been looking forward to for a while, and that means one thing: getting back to all of the stuff that we are going to be doing to the car. Now that's starting off with this rear honeycomb, which was meant to be done ages ago, and as you can see I've started sanding down just the edges, and I've got quite a bit to do yet, but I started that last night. Going to get on with that to finish this video off, I'm also selling my old TRC rear diffuser, which I took off earlier in this video. So if anyone is interested in that, I will be selling it for £80. It's in perfect condition. Just drop me a message on Instagram or something, just ask for pictures or whatever, or info, whatever. But selling that for £80. And then we've got a few more videos lined up while I'm off on this week from work, which I should be getting up to YouTube as well. But yeah, we're going to crack on with the rear honeycomb now, carry on sanding all of the like crisscrosses on it. I was going to use paint thinners, but I decided to go against that because I used it right up in the far corner, and it's taken off like a little bit too much of the purple paint. So I just thought sanding it with 1500 grit sandpaper is going to be a lot more controlled and kind of safe. So that's what I'm doing. I'll show you guys in a minute as well. I know you've seen me painting, sanding, all that crap so many times before, so it's probably a bit boring for you, but I'm not going to show you too much, but I'll just show you a little bit what I'm doing, and then hopefully we'll be able to get this back on the car, and then the whole rear end, like the rear diffuser, rear honeycomb, is all complete. But yeah, I'm going to crack on with all of the crisscrosses in the middle, and that's probably going to take quite a while, so I'll get on it and I'll show you boys when I've got a little bit further. Right then boys, so it is the next day. I've now fully sanded it. There are obviously still these little black dots in the middle. They are a pain to get off because they require more sanding than the rest, and then when you actually go to sand them off, you then start taking off the purple paint. Like if you can see that just there, just at the top there, you actually start to take off the purple paint as well. So I've got some touching up to do. I'll have to use a really thin paintbrush or something like that. Right then boys, so here it is after touching it up and a couple of coats of clear lacquer to make it nice and glossy, and I'm really actually liking this. Just took a little bit of sanding on the top obviously to get rid of all the black paint, to actually show the purple paint underneath, and then just little bits that I sanded too much, I literally just touched it up with a little paintbrush and then gave it a few coats of clear lacquer. Now it's not the best job, there is a few little imperfections in it, but when it's on the car I really don't think you're going to notice it, so I'm really happy with that, to be fair. But now what we're going to do is take it to the car, clip it in place, and definitely put a bit of tiger seal on it as well, so it just sets and it's secure, so it won't fall off or no one can take it like what I think happened last time. Because after all this work I don't really want it to fall off or someone to take it, so we're going to do that now. Then once that's done, this video is going to be all complete, and then we can move on to the next thing. That's what it's going to look like, and I think that actually looks really good. We've got a bit of tiger seal here. I'm just going to put maybe 3 or 4 blobs just along the inside of it, and then we're going to clip it into place. So then, as you can see, got 4 blobs of tiger seal, nice big amounts as well, because I really don't want this to come off. Right then, so now it's just clipping this in place. There we are boys, all complete. Nice lot of tiger seal on there as well, so it's definitely not going to come off. And it's all clipped in properly, and I actually think that looks really smart. I'd really like that, to be fair. I haven't seen anyone else do this. It was just a quick idea that I had to just make all these crisscrosses purple. I knew that it wasn't going to be the easiest job, but I'm happy the way it's come out, really. I do like it. And it looks unique, which is what I also like to try and make my car look like. But that's all secure now. I'll show you with a few different angles as well. Car is filthy though.
So yeah boys, that is the end of the video, and I'm really happy with how that's come out. I'm actually a bit surprised, to be honest, at how well it looks, or in my opinion anyway, but I do really like it. That's going to be the end of the video, so we'll end it here and I'll see you in the next video.